House of EdTech, Episode 1. Hi, this is Christopher Nesi, host of House of EdTech, the podcast that explores how technology is changing the way teachers teach and the impact that technology is having in education. My objective is to discuss the technology that is changing our classrooms and schools. You can count on House of EdTech for information you can hear about today and use tomorrow. Because whether you use it or not, technology is changing the way we teach and how our students learn. In the first episode, I'm going to tell you all about what this podcast is about. We're going to go through the segments, what you can expect from episode to episode. I'm going to talk about who I am. I have a great app recommendation for you. And I'm also going to talk about what the House of EdTech VIP is. So welcome to the program, and let's get started. I think that was a pretty good opening. This is my first ever podcast. I've never recorded anything like this before. I've done video editing. I've taken pictures. I've produced videos. I've done the school play. I've been on stage. You may have seen me on television. I'll get to that later. So here we go. House of EdTech, my podcast. Why am I doing House of EdTech? What's the purpose of it? I'm a teacher who loves technology. And technology is important in our schools. I want to talk about it. There's so much out there. I'm always reading about technology. And I want to have the conversation. I want to talk to you. I want to share my thoughts. I want to get your thoughts in future episodes. So here we go. Please bear with me again through this first episode. Again, I've never done this, so I'm kind of learning as I go. Please show patience. And your feedback, please send it. I'll give you all my information at the end of the episode. Let me know what you think. If you have advice on how to do a better program, please let me know, because I want to give you the best possible conversation out there and do the best I can. So let's get into this. What can you expect from this program? From what I've read about doing a podcast, you need to have segments. I have segments planned. This episode, they're not full of too much, but what I'd like to do from episode to episode is give you my current EdTech thoughts. What's hot? What's current? What's fresh that's being used in terms of technology and education? What are other people talking about? I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. In future episodes, I will be interviewing people, current teachers, administrators that I know personally, some who I may not have a personal relationship with, but that I've met over the last couple of years through social media, who are great people to know in education, who believe the same things that I do. And if you're listening to this, they probably share the same beliefs that you do. And that's using technology in the classroom and using it to make yourself a better teacher, and also to enhance instruction and improve the learning for your students in their experience as learners. I will be making app and website recommendations, great tools and resources that you should know about. If you already know about it, you'll at least get my perspective on it, and might be a tool that you can use, or if you tell another teacher about it, knowledge is power, and sharing that knowledge is, I think, just as valuable. My expectations for the program overall, right now up front, based on my schedule and what commitments I have, my hope is to produce this program on a bi-weekly basis through the end of this current school year, and evaluate it over the summer. And the big picture would be to have a full-blown weekly program that comes to you each week. You can expect episodes to be released on Sundays. From what I've learned, Sunday is one of the great days to release podcasts. Who am I? Who is Chris Nesi? I am certified in social studies here in the state of New Jersey. I have taught middle school and high school over the last 7 years, and I currently work in a high school. Not currently teaching social studies. I have a unique position. The school I'm working in, I am the in-school suspension teacher. So the last couple of years that I've been doing this, it's been an experience like none I've ever had in education, and it's really opened my eyes to some new techniques in classroom management and really working with students in a different way than I had in a social studies classroom. But that's my background in social studies history. I love U.S. history in terms of U.S. 1, U.S. 2 preference. I'm a big U.S. 1 guy, foundations of government, how the country got started. That's my favorite area of history. In terms of my professional development, I'm currently a master's student at Caldwell College, and I'm in their curriculum and instruction program, and I'll be graduating this spring. And I'm also currently working on my master's thesis, which, surprise, has something to do with technology and education. And if you check out my website, mr.chrisnesi.com, I do have a couple of blog posts up there about my master's experience so far. And you can check those out, and more will be coming. And I'll be talking a little bit more about my master's thesis in this episode, because it deals with my current EdTech thought. In terms of my personal life, I am married. I'm happily married for the last 6 years, and my wife and I have a awesome 21-month-old son who is, the apple of her eye, and the apple didn't fall far from my tree. My son is amazing, and he's somebody who I get to teach every day, 24 hours a day, and you can't beat that. And we also have a Chihuahua named Bambi. She is rascally, and she's a fantastic little puppy dog, and we love her a lot, and she makes our life a lot of fun. I love playing sports. I've coached basketball and baseball. I play softball, played roller hockey growing up. My favorite sport is baseball. Huge Yankee fan, so I hope I didn't just turn off most of America, who maybe you're a Yankee hater. Also a Knick fan, a Ranger fan. I love watching sports. I love spending time with my family, running, going to the boardwalk, going to the beach, swimming. My wife and I love to cook. If you want to know anything more about me, feel free to check out YouTube and search Chris Nesi and Rachel Ray. But check out the video, and I'm sure I'll get some feedback about my old cooking techniques and recipes. I love reading about technology. I love playing with technology, whether it's Photoshop, tweaking my laptop, designing a website. I really enjoy graphic design, designing websites. I'm a very visual person, and I like to create things that people like to look at. I guess now that I'm doing a podcast, though, I need to get more focused on creating things that people like to listen to. These will not all be this bad, I promise you. But again, I'm looking at my show notes. I'm watching my sound bar. I'm trying to make sure that my face is still pointed at the microphone. So there's a lot to worry about. Not something I've ever done this before. So let's see. What else can I talk about? My current EdTech thought. Let's take a look at that. This episode, I'd like to focus on my master's thesis. Again, I'm currently a student at Caldwell College, and I'm doing my research in how teachers use technology. I'm interested in how teachers use and integrate technology into their instruction. I'm also researching how teachers view the professional development that they receive from the school they work in and the districts that they work in. How teachers feel about technology. Are teachers comfortable with it? Right now, I believe that if a teacher is not personally comfortable with technology, they're not going to be too comfortable using it with students. A lot of teachers are timid and shy and might feel embarrassed if they don't know how to do something in front of students. But let me tell you right now, so what? Don't be afraid to tell your kids that you don't know how to do something. It makes you more human. It makes you real. You're teaching them, and they're not supposed to feel dumb and like less of a person if they don't know what you're talking to them about. So why should you feel any different? If they can teach you something, enhance the community of your classroom. Listen to the kids. What's next on the show notes? My recommended app of today, of this episode. So this is my first recommended app. Raise your hands if you have heard of Reminds 101. Okay, that was silly to ask because I can't see any of you, so I don't know if you raised your hand or not. But I can tell you this. I'm not here to talk to you today about Reminds 101. Today's app recommendation is Selly. Selly is an awesome communication tool that you should be using in your classroom. Selly allows you as a teacher, coach, or club advisor to create a private network and basically communicate with the participants via their cell phone. Most of our students have cell phones, if not all the parents, depending on where you are. But this is a great free resource that allows you to send text messages to your students, student parents. If you're an administrator, principal, superintendent, it's a great free way to get messages out to your district. School closings, maybe you're the athletic director, schedule, scores. It's free. And here's the best part. Again, I mentioned that it's private. Phone numbers are not exchanged using Selly. Participants choose to sign up and be a part of what Selly calls your cell, Selly cell. And then you as the teacher, you can send out messages from your cell phone. And again, they don't get your phone number, whoever gets the message. Or the manager of the cell, in this case, we'll just say you're the teacher. You can send messages from your computer or, again, through your phone. And anybody who signed up gets the message on their phone. And this is great because you have a couple of choices. You can set up the communication so that it is like an announcement where you send out messages and people get them and they can't respond to them. If they were to respond, they'll get a message that says, you can't respond to this message. But it came from, say, Mr. Nesi. You can do curated chats where you would see messages that other people would see, but you would have to approve it first. Or you could have completely open communication and any of the people in your Selly cell could communicate with anybody else. That's not something I would recommend K to 12, but you know your students, you know your community. It all depends on the situation and what type of permission you have to use technology like this. You also have the ability to create polls and send out questions and do surveys, and you can take advantage of the fact that most of the kids have this technology, and you can keep your students and your parents on the same page with you. This is something I've used before. I've used it in the middle school setting. I've also used it in the athletic setting when I was an assistant varsity coach in terms of getting programs, announcements out, schedule updates, practice notifications, score updates to parents and people who wanted to sign up for it. It's also something, again, because it's private, it's not anybody can see it. You can put a password in place so that way people know the password to get into your cell, and not anybody can just be getting the messages about your class or your club or your sport or your team. Selly helps eliminate the excuses that often come up from students. I didn't know about the homework. I was absent. I went to the nurse. I wasn't here. I forgot. I didn't write it down. By having the parents involved, that's another way to make sure that you have good parental involvement, which is something that a lot of teachers struggle with currently. Wouldn't it be nice if little Johnny or Susie goes home and mom and dad says, did you have any homework in social studies today? And they say, no, I didn't have any homework. Oh, well, did you do the readings and answer the questions at the end of the section? Because I got Mr. Nesi's text today. And then either they'll say, oh, yeah, I did it, or, oh, you got me. And it's another way to keep parents in the loop and knock down the walls of your classroom. Have that transparent classroom. Increase parental involvement. These are all good things. Check out Selly. They may not be doing a lot of advertising, but it's free, and I think it's definitely worth a look. So check them out. Again, their website is cel-selly.com. Selly, my House of EdTech recommendation for this episode. And I hope to maybe come up with little stingers and sound effects that would add a little intrigue to the program. Because as I've told students over the years, I'm not big on lecture, and right now this feels like me doing all the talking, and I guess that'll be broken up when I can do some interviews and figure out how I can provide other audio so it's not just me doing all the talking. It's supposed to be a conversation, so yeah, we'll do that. So I'm going to take a breath. If I was going too fast, the pace, I'll work on the pace, because I'm going to listen to this before I post it. I'm not going to do much editing. We'll get it up, and again, I've said it 1,000 times already in this episode. I'm learning, so we're going to learn as we go. So, the House of EdTech VIP. I don't have a VIP this week. I guess it should be all of you who are listening to this episode. If you're still with me, God bless you. I may have turned myself off by now, but I appreciate you sticking through this. And again, when I give you my contact information, please send me feedback. Let me know what I can do to do a better job. Or if you want me to continue on like this and you just want to listen for the laughs, be my guest. But I do welcome the constructive criticism and critiques. That'll make me a better podcaster, and we'll go from there. But House of EdTech VIP. From episode to episode, this is going to be a person who you should connect with. I'm going to give out, their Twitter name. I'll talk to them first, or maybe I'll just surprise them and, just reveal who they are and how you can get in touch with them. But these are people who are using technology. They advocate for the use of technology, or they're creating the technology. I've been able to make some great connections with some software developers and app developers over the last 6 months or so this school year, as I've really immersed myself in technology and really jumped in. There's really no other way to say it. So yeah, that'll be the House of EdTech VIP in future episodes. So stay tuned, and I hope you come back. That's going to do it for the first episode of House of EdTech. I am Christopher Nesi. You can check out the show notes for this episode, mr.chrisnesi.com/2014/01/House of EdTech 1. Please keep the conversation going. Join me on Twitter @MrNesi and use the hashtag House of EdTech. Please feel free to visit my website and blog, mr.chrisnesi.com. If you have a question or a comment, you can leave me a SpeakPipe message through my website, or feel free to call the show's hotline, 732-903-4869. I would love to hear from you, so keep the conversation going. Thanks for listening, and remember, using technology isn't difficult. Just give it a try.